So the check engine light code came back at P0128. Coolant thermostat. Okay, coolant temperature below thermostat regulating temperature. And sure enough, the Jeep's temperature is stuck at 185 degrees. So the thermostat is stuck wide open. And stay to the end of the video so you can see what the normal fluctuating temperature looks like. Now, of course, different sources vary, but an operating temperature of between 195 and 220 degrees Fahrenheit seems to be pretty normal for this 3.6 Pentastar engine.
Okay, and this is what I like to use for a catch pan. This is just a little bin that goes under the bed from Walmart, and basically it's big enough to catch anything that drips down. And then I'll just filter it when I pour it back in. If I'm recycling the coolant, I'll just drop a filter in, pour it back in from here, then wipe this out, then cover it up, and that keeps it kind of clean inside till the next time I need it. So on my JK, this petcock is super inaccessible from down here. The little drain spigot is right there, up inside there, and so you can kind of bring your arm around here from this side and get to it. So because of this bumper though, the access from the top is actually better in my case. Okay, at this rate, this is going to take a minute. I can pull the plug further and have it spray everywhere, but I'm just going to go ahead and take apart the intake stuff, and hopefully by that time our level will be low enough we can take out the thermostat. Fluid still looks nice and pink, like it came from the factory. Okay, so we've got a 10mm bolt here and here. There's two of those. We've got two 8mm clamps here and here. So we'll just take this off and take this hose off. Okay, and then right here is the IAT sensor, so let's just squeeze that and it should pull off. There we go. All right, coolant's drained and our thermostat is right here underneath this throttle control, and this is it right here attached to this radiator hose right here. We're going to squeeze this clamp off first, get it back, because you don't want to loosen these bolts first, because it's just really hard to get the clamp off then and get the clamp moved. So leave those bolts on, get this clamp off first, then take the bolts off. There's two bolts. There's a 10mm here, and then there's a 10mm right here underneath. Okay, not too bad. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. I'm still going to take a little bit of emery cloth here, or plumber's sand cloth, whatever you call it, and just kind of make sure that this edge is flat. This is aluminum, so don't overdo it. Okay, and here's the Mopar part number. And yeah, some aftermarket parts may work just as well. I've used lots of aftermarket parts over the years, but this time I just chose to spend a little bit extra money and get the part that I know is going to be exactly compatible. And I don't mean just compatible by fit, I mean compatible by the exact thermostat that the ECM was looking for. There's the new seal. It's kind of, zigzag in here, but that's the way they get it to hold in, I guess. And just make sure there's no defects. Let's take this off. And this is just a purge screw to get air out. So it's a number 3 Phillips. Hopefully this does it. There we go. Okay. That's what that looks like. Okay, the edge feels nice and smooth. Okay, the hose is seated up against the stop. Clamp's tight. We give it a little tug. Feels pretty solid. Now we'll close our knob back off. Okay, Chrysler, you know, you just make things a pain in the butt. And there's so many things, and it's not just Chrysler, it's other manufacturers. Why didn't they just relocate this instead of right underneath this right here so you can't get a screwdriver on it? Why didn't they just put it right there, actually at the top, where it would actually maybe vent air a little bit better and in line so you could get a screwdriver right down here and on top of it? But no, they have to make it where you can't get to it and you have to take this off, which is extra hours that they charge you if you're paying somebody to do this. So in order to vent that easily, they put a Phillips screw on top. I mean, come on. How do you get a Phillips screw on unless you have one of those little bent ones? And then you're holding it here and you're trying to, yeah. And who has that in a number 3? It's a specialty tool that you have to buy. Okay, so maybe you could get a slot in here. I don't know. Maybe there's another trick you guys know. Let me know in the comments. But this is just dumb. Why didn't they just line it up with that right there so you could just put a screwdriver on it? Okay, guys, and jacking the Jeep up on one side seemed to get, tilt it up so the air from the hose, all the air just kind of came rising up to this corner here where the fill is, and I got almost all the fluid back in. There's just a little bit, but basically I drained out a gallon and I put everything back except for that little bit. I'll just drop that in the catch tank and let it cycle back into the system. Okay, first things first, the IAT sensor. Okay, and this is something you don't want to screw up, right? Because if you get this clamped wrong and it's sucking dirt goes in your engine, and yeah, that's super expensive. So on this flange right here, you'll be able to see it, this little tab index right here, but underneath here, there's 2 little tabs, plastic tabs that stick out. And so it won't look like this lower part is all the way flush with the side of the housing here. But that's okay. Those 2 little plastic tabs will butt right up against here. Just reach under there and make sure they're touching. And you can reach under here and feel them. So these 2 little tabs right here, there's one here and there's one right over here. And so that's what it butts up against. We're going to look around it as best we can and make sure it looks flush and that it feels flush. And I'm always going to come back with a little ratchet and make sure that I'm comfortable with the tension that's on it. Hoses snap back in. Oh yeah, so while my drain pan's collecting fluid down below, the drain lid is actually my tool holder. Now I can just go set this by my toolbox, put all my tools away. I'm going to take it for a test drive, get it up to operating temperature, clear the code of course, see if it comes back. Of course, we'll park it on the concrete here and look for leaks later. Anything we messed with can leak, right? So we got to kind of double check all those connections.
And now that the thermostat's working correctly, you can actually see the temperature change now. Here we're cruising at 65 and about 2,000 RPM. Here the RPMs are going to go up while we climb a hill. So guys, get in the habit of watching your gauges. You can watch your coolant temp, you can watch your transmission temperature. And if you're driving to work or driving in the mountains or whatever, four-wheeling, just turn on your transmission temp and just watch it and see how it fluctuates and see what normal is. And that's the important thing. So you know where normal operating temperature is, climbing a hill, going down a hill, when you're idling, when you're at high RPM, all that kind of stuff.
And that's it. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.